What's up, friends of the good mood? This is Manni and welcome to the new Venom Battleship fitting guide video episode, the one after the rebalancing that is now up to date and hopefully brings you a lot of inspiration in creating your own fleets, right? Generally, those videos are divided into different categories. One is Mark 1, Mark 3, okay? There's going to be Mark 1 and Mark 3 versions of each ship for you to have an easier time to replicate those fittings depending on your tech standard, okay? The other is that it's going to be a difference between farming, means Vega, VSEC, Iron Star Company, or Crafting, and Vega Demon Core, or the other one is PvP, aka fleet versus fleet combat. So those are the things I split those fittings into, or the categories I split them into, and this right here is going to be the first one. It's the Universal Manual Farming Fleet, in this case with a Dread Battleship and a Vigilante Battleship and a Ragnarok carrier, but it can also be done with the Venom Battleships and no carrier even, or some carrier, whatever, even the Midgar carrier which you can get from blueprints. So let's jump into the first fitting, guys. Also, there is a new video playlist, right? You will find it in the video description of all my videos in the future, and all those new episodes will be brought in here, and eventually I'm going to make all the most important ships into a new fitting guide episode. Alright, so here, Universal Manual Farming Fleet Mark 1. It doesn't need a lot of shields and armor, as you can see here. Meta Phase Shield level 2, Fusion 3, Focused Optics 5, Echo Ray 2 4 times, Net Torpedo 2 twice. With the Net Torpedo we have enough slowing potential to not get those enemies close to us, so if you do it right, you don't really get hit by anything, okay? And any carrier will make it a lot easier for you to take out enemy battleships if you control it right, to make those squadrons come in from the non-firing angle, by making your battleships be the #1 aggression and use them well. So by doing this, you don't really get shot back anyways, and even without a carrier you can still take out battleships without getting hit back if you have the right angle and speed, okay? So you have maximum range here with the Echo Rays, so that shouldn't be a problem, okay? Of course, there's also the Mark 3 version here. It basically has a little bit more firepower, as you can see here, 88 DPS, but keep in mind the Echo Ray doubles the DPS when it jumps over multiple times. This one here has 101 DPS. It's basically using, also it has more armor, as you can see there. We have Syntium Armor 2 twice in here, and we have one Echo Ray level 3, so that's pretty much the difference. The rest is the same, it's just one Echo Ray 3 being used here if you have that, and 2 times Syntium Armor twice. There's no resistor being used here because, as I told you, we're not getting hit back if you do it right, so you don't need any resistors at all. So let's jump into the next fitting. It's the high-end DPS Aurora Brawler Mark 1, okay? And I have a video for you with different ships showing you basically what it does, okay? It's using the Aurora Ray on a maximum range with a maximum DPS. And that DPS does not get higher through jumping over or penetrating. It has the highest DPS on one ship. It's a really strong focus fire weapon. It basically allows you to do what I'm doing here, for example, using the high-end version of the same fitting basically with Zeal Battleships Mark 5, to farm the highest hunter fleets from the Iron Star Company, not because I have the Net Torpedo and slow them down that much, but because of the fact I have almost 400 DPS on each Zeal battleship and have insane focus fire damage output. I can get rid of those ships so quickly, basically firing twice and they're done. Okay, living from the high DPS, this fitting allows you to farm so many things that you cannot even farm as easy with the Universal Manual Farming Fleet, because sometimes the Net Torpedo screws you. Sometimes the Net Torpedo makes it so that a following ship gets slowed, and therefore other ships like battleships of the enemy farming fleet catches up to the cruiser, for example, and you cannot farm as well anymore because all of a sudden they are next to each other. Squadrons are being fired upon by the enemy battleships and you get into enemy battleship range because the Net Torpedo slows down the enemy cruiser, for example, which lets the other ships catch up. That's something you don't have as a problem with this fitting right here, because you're living only from highest possible focus fire damage output, and that's really cool. It's also very nice in PvP. And in this case I have a special variation here. The Mark 1 version is basically the farming version here, because you don't need shield bypass to do this. You also don't necessarily need more mass here. You can make more DPS out of it if you see the Mark 3 version here, more DPS, but for the most part you don't really need much shielding, much armor, and more mass here, because we already have 180 DPS on each Venom battleship right here with the Aurora Ray 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3. And in addition to that, we use 1 Iridium Armor, Fusion Thrusters 3, Focus Optics 5, and Meta Phase Shield level 2. And you could see there in this short video footage how insanely effective that is, okay? The Zeals Mark V have 400 DPS around. This one here has almost half of that. So farming a little bit lower level fleets allows you to do pretty much the same thing, right? Okay, and also Aurora Rays are so incredibly powerful in taking down squadrons, okay? So you can even rush into the enemy carrier at the end, having your ships all next to each other where they can defend each other from squadrons, and then just go in, and once you are in range of the enemy carrier, turn your battleships so that they still defend each other, and fire on the carrier to the other side, and you take minimal damage. You take out the entire farming fleet, Vega, VSEC, whatever it is, with the carrier including, okay? The name here, you will find at the end of this video. I show you how you get to a document that gives you all those fittings listed together, okay? And the name that you can see here on the browser address line is also being shown in this document then. And this one here is High DPS Aurora Brawler Venom Mark 1, very powerful in farming Vega, VSEC, Vega Demon Core, in combination with a carrier, okay? The carrier makes it even better with the agility support field. Midgard carrier really well. Ragnarok carrier would of course be the best thing you can do, but of course you can also use a Freyja carrier or a Valhalla carrier and not have the agility support field and just squadrons. That's also good. Alternatively, you can also just use 6 of these battleships. That's also good because you have an insane DPS on each one of them, right? So you kill things faster. Against battleships, you might have to make gaps though, so that the enemy projectiles go through your ships and not hit any of them. So here we go with the Mark III version, and this is the difference here. In this case, we're going for a PvP fitting. This is not necessarily for farming Vega anymore. Because here we have a high DPS Aurora Brawler Mark III, very powerful in farming, but more suited for PvP now. Good defense and extreme high focus fire damage output. Because you can see here we put the Spectral Shield level 4 on them, which gives us 620 energy against the weapon damage that is mostly being used. Focused Fusion Thrusters 3 here, Focused Optics 5, Syntium Armor 2 twice, giving us 1350 hit points as well. And we even have 2 Aurora Ray level 3s here, which means we get to 202 DPS. Combined with good shielding, good speed, and that much firepower, you can be a really annoyance to anyone who tries to mess with a lower, let's say, level 48, 50 Venom battleship fleet. He sees the Venom battleships and thinks, okay, let's just overrun that thing, but that much firepower will make him suffer for that kind of attitude. On the alternative side, we have nothing here. Not enough hit points to actually make it worth using resistors here. Alright, the next fitting, guys. 1 coin Insta Venom Mark 1. 1 coin. Why? Because it has only 8 minutes of repair time. Yes. 5 minutes would be 0 coins insta repair, right? We can't do that with the Venom because it already, as itself, it has more than 5 minutes repair time. But we can make it the next step, the 8 minutes repair time, which exactly is 1 coin of repair, okay? And given the fact that this ship has 1 coin of repair, it deals a good amount of damage to the enemy. This one here is the Mark 1 version, optimal version at Mark 3 with the Spectral Warheads 3. If you don't have Spectral Warheads, use AM Warheads instead, but Spectral Warheads is better because it gives you a shield penetration higher, allowing you to deal more damage to the enemy ship's armor no matter if you lose. You're most likely going to lose with this fleet because it has no armor and no shielding really, right? But it only costs 1 coin repair or 8 minutes of repair the entire ship. And given that fact, you deal a ton of direct armor damage to the enemy fleet, and some of them you can even kill entirely because they don't even get in range because of your net torpedo, okay? It basically is hard to dodge. The vector torpedoes are hard to dodge. It slows down the enemies in pursuit. It has shield bypass and high area splash damage. Best when used with the agility support field Ragnarok and Midgard carrier, of course. The fitting would be, and I found the perfect shielding here, I'm proud of this, because it basically maxes out our maximum shield hit points ratio. You can see here 8 minutes repair time, which means 1 second more and we wouldn't have a 1 coin repair anymore, which is exactly the 120 energy that we're using here, right? It's giving us only 120 energy, but it's a recharging shield, the diffuser shield level 1. It's an early blueprint of the Vega 25, I believe. Really cool, because it can recharge. If you catch a shot and you haven't lost your shields entirely from that, you can basically recharge that shield again and basically have a little bit more than the defense you have here on paper, right? So, other than that, you can also just use a Spectra Shield level 1 together with Play Steel Armor 2. Keep that in mind, I'm not writing this down. Spectral Shield 1, Play Steel Armor 2 will also almost max out the 8 minutes repair. It's shortly before that, just with a shield that does not require a blueprint, right? Fusion Thrusters 3 here, Spectral Warheads 3, because, like I said, more shield damage, but also more shield penetration of 30% more, really good, and highest possible splash damage as well. No armor here, and Vector Torpedo 2, 111, and Net Torpedo 1. I know that Net Torpedo 1 isn't exactly the best slowing weapon, but 30% stasis probably is enough to keep away cruisers in pursuit of your fleet, which allows this insta-repair fleet to finally completely take out, let's say, a full Mark III Apocrypha cruiser rushing fleet. It should work. And that's definitely the biggest slap in the face, being killed by by basically an insta fleet, right? So, and this here has also a Mark III version, which makes it a lot better, because Mark III battleships already have a shield penetration of 10%, right? A 10% more shield penetration to the already existing 10 base percent of shield penetration that every weapon or shield anyways has. So here we have once again the same shielding, no armor, diffuser 1. Fusion Thrusters 3, also Spectral Warheads 3 to increase that to even more shield penetration, and then pretty much the same armament, except for the fact we're using Vector Torpedo 2, 211, Net Torpedo 2 here, okay? Now we actually have a better Net Torpedo that slows down to 50%, so that will definitely keep everything in pursuit away that is not marked up frigates or cutters. Marked up cutters or frigates have stasis resistance, they will not be kept away by this so far. They will be slowed a little, but not that good, okay? But everything else that is not marked up pretty much, and also cruisers, they just have no chance of getting towards you. If you fly away with your fusion thrusters and slow them down with this, fire the Vector Torpedoes back with that much splash damage and shield penetration, awesome! And only 1 coin of repair time if it goes wrong, right? Also, keep in mind, Vector Torpedoes are really good at taking down squadrons as well. So yeah, and the more bunched up the enemy ships are, the more damage you deal with those Vector Splash Torpedoes. So, here we go with the next fitting, guys. Vega Cargo 50 Wave Driver Venom Mark 1, okay? Optimal with higher shield bypass at Mark 3. As I told you, you get more shield bypass at higher battleship markups, right? Strafe Thrusters level 5 or Binary Thrusters 3 would be better here, okay? Keep that in mind. Farming technique requires a tank. Now, that's a special farming technique right here. We're having wave drivers which already have a high shield penetration as a projectile-based weapon. Then we add another 50% to it with a phased projectiles level 5. The higher you have, the better. You can also do it with 4, but like I said, more shield penetration, the better it goes, because this fitting basically lives from the shield penetration. And then we have either, which is a good idea actually, a Valkyrie carrier inside that fleet that increases our shield penetration even higher, or we just use 5 of these Venom battleships together with 1 tank. The fitting is Meta Phase Shield level 2, Strafe Thrusters 4 here in this basic version. It's just the lowest version. Phase Projectiles 5, Syntium Armor 2 twice, Wave Driver 2 5 times, okay? So that's one way to do it on Mark 1. The other one would be Vega Cargo 50 plus Wave Driver Venom Mark 3. This is the optimal version, and also here it requires a farming tank. Of course, it's the same technique, just with a better ship that has Mark 3. We're using 1 wave driver level 3 and 2 wave driver level 3 instead of 5 level 2s, and the rest is pretty much the same. Like I said, binary thrusters 3. Let's equip them. Would be the best thing to equip here. They are here. because, oh, we have to change an armor here in this case, it's not a problem, because they basically allow you to fly faster forward and strafe faster at the same time, so you can definitely make sure that nothing can hit you back or follow you that quickly and fire at you, especially not enemy battleships who have a hard time catching up with your higher range. You also have higher range than Gladius drivers have, keep that in mind, right? It's only 50 meters, but it is more range nonetheless. And on the flip side, here we have nothing, because once again, there is no Mark IV, so no alternative weapon slot to be gotten here, and also that low hit point don't really need a resistor here. Now, the tanks that you need in order to pull off this farming technique, I will show you a video of that. Maybe I have already shown this, I'm not sure. The tank on Mark II, or it should be Mark II, and the Revelation Cruiser is the best one to choose because it has 2 shields. You cannot really use another one than that, because you need a lot of shield energy for level 50 plus, right? This can be used for level 55 cargo as well. Iridium armor 5533, shockwave shield level 5 twice, basic cargo 5, phase projectiles 5, and wave driver 2 4 times. And on the flip side, we have the explosive resistor level 2. Now this here is the basic version with the lower tech things, okay, that you can get earlier. The high-end version of this would be this tank right here, Syntium Armor 4, 4, 2, and 1, Meta Phase Shield level 3 twice, Armored Hold level 3, Phase Projectiles 5, Wave Driver 2 4 times, Syntium Armor 1 on the flip side, and yeah. We have Explosive Resistor level 3 in this case. Why Explosive Resistor? Well, the ships that you're going to be damaged by are, if you're farming level 53 and 55s only using Hydra missiles, so explosive weapon damage. So you can minimize the repair time of your ship by using these explosive resistors, and the better the resistor, the better your defense, and the lower your repair time. That's why I have that on the high-end version here, and the lower version, the basic version, has also level 2 though, because I don't expect you to spend that much coins into a resistor level 3 for it. And also here we have the shockwave shields and all that, right? If you farm 50 and 53, there's going to be a Condor frigate with Gladius drivers, I believe, in there. But the other ones are dealing more damage, the cruisers, and they are once again dealing explosive damage with Hydra missiles. So I show you how to use this fitting here, or alternatively I just make a video link appear on this page right here that you can follow, or visit the link in the video description to get to the farming tutorial on how to use this strategy very well, okay? So the next fitting is Autofarming Venom Mark 1. Yes, that's right, I also created a Autofarming Venom fleet, which you basically just use either 6 of these ships or 5 and some carrier. And you can use the line formation, the box formation, whatever runs best against the kind of farming fleet you just take on at the moment, right? We're having a good high shield here with Meta Phase Shield level 3, rear thrusters 2, because it is the basic version here. The better version would be the fusion thrusters level 1 in this case. Rear thrusters 2 do the trick also. Iridium magnets 3, Syntium armor 3 and 2, or some armor, like whatever. Gladius driver 2, 2, 2, 1, and 1, okay? So that's one way to completely auto-farm, let's say. I guess that you can auto-farm a lot of these things with it. Let's say fleets up to level 40, definitely. Also crafting fleets, I'm guessing you can do that a very good with these kind of ships here, because they have so much shield energy that they don't really get that much damage. You can use them in auto mode a couple of times in a row until you have to, I don't know, go offline and repair, whatever. And then we have the Mark III version for that. Meta Phase Shield level 3, Fusion Thrusters level 3, Iridium Magnets 3, Syntium Armor 3 and 2, Gladius Driver 2, 2, 2, 1 and 2, so 4 times 2 here. And we have the Projectile Resistor level 2, because projectile based damage usually is the highest damage you take during an auto farming run, okay? So that would be the Autofarming Mark III Venom, and like I said, either 6 of these ships or 5 together with a carrier could also be a huge idea, or good idea to auto farm, right? And then we have the last fitting I want to show you that I was looking forward to showing you guys, my special Annoyance Venom Mark III. I think it's a cool ship. I would love to just build 6 of those or 5 of those with a carrier and go into battle and see how much annoyance I can spread among my enemy. It has a Mark 3 level 3 blast shield. It's recharging, right? It has 1,800 energy, and within 10 seconds it recharges its energy entirely. Of course, those shields don't have the best weight to shield relation, but since they recharge, you only pay, as in repair time, the amount of 1,800 energy, and if you manage to recharge that 3 times, well, then you actually had a lot more energy without having to pay that as repair time. That's really cool. So we have that as explosive resistor because Seeker missiles, vector torps, and especially enemy bomber squadrons of high-end carriers are going to be your biggest problem. Of course, cutters will take you out really fast, especially when they're marked up, and also frigates, when they're marked up, will probably take you out. But cruisers or even anything that comes will still take a good amount of damage. And now we come to the annoying part. Fusion Thrusters 3, Spectral Warheads 3 for shield penetration and higher shield takedown as well. Synthium Armor 1 and 2 giving us 1,175 hit points and 1,800 shield, which you can recharge multiple times, right? And then we have here together Vector Torpedo 1, Vector Torpedo 1, Hydra Missile 1, Creeper Torpedo 1, Net Torpedo 1, and I just love the idea of firing such many different weapons. So, Vector Torpedo, good against everything that follows you, including squadrons. Squadrons are getting taken down by Vector Torpedoes really well. And Hydra missiles are never missing explosive missiles that are even better in taking down squadrons, if you ask me. So those things are taking down everything that comes at you, especially squadrons, and everything gets so much damage by those, okay? Creeper Torpedo 1, you just, every time something gets in range, you leave a little bubble, a little mine right there that enemies in pursuit have to collect when they want to get at your battleships, or squadrons will immediately, well, because those Creeper Torps immediately explode at your own ship, taking down squadrons surrounding the ship once the Creeper Torps is being fired at something, which makes it also a good idea to have it against the squadrons. And like I said, everything that follows you has to collect those orbs, and that's awesome, because they do a good amount of damage. And then we have the Net Torpedo level 1 here to slow down enemies, and the enemy does not know if this is the Net Torpedo level 2 or 3 or 1, right? He's probably going to try to avoid the Net Torpedo hit, and by that he's losing speed and not gaining, or he's not getting closer to your ships. And if he collects the orb, he's still slowed by 30%. It doesn't take you long to fire it, just turn around, pew, and it's going to be fired. And yeah, I think that this fitting is going to be a really, really big and annoying thing. There's only 1 ton left. We maxed out the ship, and it's Mark III, having stasis resistance on its own. It deals increased cruiser damage. It's all in all a really cool ship, and I would love to use it to take out a couple of cruiser fleets and cause a lot of pain and suffering. There are 2 more fittings, Mark 1 and Mark III, that I really need to show you guys for a battleship farming Venom. Mark 1 in this case here, with Metaphase Shield level 1, Binary Thrusters 3, or Rear Thrusters 5, Iridium Magnets 5, Iridium Armor 1, and then Siege Driver 2, 1, 1, and 1, okay? That battleship can be used to farm any battleship AI controlled without any problems. With a Siege Driver, you outrange them so hard that they can't even fire back. With the Binary Thrusters, you strafe away from them without them getting closer to you, and or with the Rear Thrusters 5, you're definitely faster and won't allow them to get closer to you. There is multiple ways to use this kind of ship. For example, to farm the crafting battalion fleets, not the ones with a supply run with a carrier, the other ones where only battleships and a frigate is there. You just take out the frigate and then one after another battleship, no problem, right? Or alternatively, you farm level 55 Vega fleets by using the cruiser method I showed you. I'm showing you right here, where you basically just slow down the cruisers and approach and kill them with your first fleet that you have with the cruisers, and then you send the second fleet in, which is basically only this one battleship right here, taking out the dread battleships at the end, and boom, you kill the level 55 Vega fleet, no repair time, just two battles within a couple of minutes, and that's it. So that's the Mark 1 version right here, and this is the Mark 3 here. Basically pretty much the same, except for there is one more Siege Driver level 1 in addition to the ones we had on Mark 1, and that's pretty much the difference, allowing us to get a really good amount of damage output. Now, Important, guys, you will find all these fittings combined here in this nice document that you can find in the video description, okay? This document is to be found in the video description for you guys, that you can check for all the fittings in a detailed way. They're written down for you, even though that always takes quite a good amount of time to do this, but I think it's just important because you can print, you can even print that page, and yeah, so you don't have to rewatch the video 100 times just to get the fittings correctly. And what is there to say? Mark up your ships as fast as you can, guys, because marking up the ships makes all those fittings more effective, right? And never, ever fit your ships without planning them first in the Vega ship calculator. The site is linked to the page, and I think you have to turn up your ad block, but it's a really, really powerful site. It allows you to basically not waste any time or coins in refitting your ships unnecessarily because you made some little mistake or something was planned wrong or something has changed. Use this site, it's being kept up to date, and it's really important to, yeah, it basically saves you time and money. Alright? And as always, guys, creating these videos takes a huge amount of time, especially because I had to recreate this whole thing. And if you found this video helpful and you would like to help me back, then you could visit the Patreon page, first link in the video description, and yeah, become a member of this community and help me reach the next milestone goal, this one or this one. I could really use your help here, and also you would benefit from all videos in early access first for a couple of days before they go public, and there are certain other perks and rewards for you personally, which I came up with in order to thank you properly. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment down below, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe as brutal as a man can hit for more. Thanks for bearing with me, you guys are awesome. As always, Manni-Gaming signing off. Bye bye.